What up, what up? This is Finance, Fitness, and Folk. The channel we discuss finance, a little bit of fitness, talk about some folk. So today's episode I'm going to discuss how I got fired from my job. So admin notes, thanks again to all the subscribe to the channel. I endeavor to keep pushing the video out, give you leverage, you better yourselves. So it is a hot Monday morning. I tried to get out here a little bit earlier than usual, but that sleep monster had me, right? So I was like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and get up because the heat wave, the heat advisory doesn't supposed to take effect until 11 o'clock today here in Virginia. And I got out here about 8:50, and yeah, I'm just finishing, and yo, yeah, it's already hot. I can't even imagine how it is, how it's gonna be outside today. I'm staying there, I'm not coming out, y'all. AC all day today. But let's get into it. So, how did I get fired from my job? So I had discussed this, not in detail, but I had mentioned this in a video, I think probably about a year ago. Yeah, at least over a year ago, because I believe I made a video that was titled something to the effect of what to do if you're fired, right? So I wanted to put a video out there to help folks if they got fired or laid off or whatever, so they won't panic, and you know they get a clear mind, a clear head, and they're able to navigate through being fired, because being fired can be a very traumatizing thing. So I'm not gonna belabor the video. I'm gonna try to speak as loudly as possible because, of course, it's traffic on this main road here. So I'm gonna try to speak clearly. So I had been at this job for maybe about 2 years. This was my second job after I retired from the Army. And what happened was I had got a contracting job in the same building 2 years prior with another agency. And had a guy that I met on the other contract. He told me what he did as far as IT, and then he told me his salary. And I'm like, yo, like, I got more education than you, more certs, more experience, because he had did about 7 years in the Air Force, and I did like 20 in the Army. And I had more IT experience from that aspect, and a couple other things. And I'm not pushing any shade towards him. That's my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? I helped him move when he had to move, and you know, me and him has gotten real close. So there's no shade to him. It's just you know, from a logical standpoint, when I looked at, you know, pay and what they were paying me on my contract, what they was paying him, it just didn't equal out. But I said whatever. You know what I'm saying? I tried to navigate on that other contract I was on to another position, cybersecurity, and there was like, nah, there's no openings. You need to stay here in the sysadmin department. So I was like, well, I'm gonna wait it out just a little while longer. But I had a clearance at the time, so I'm like, you know, I don't want to, you know, this is my first job out the Army. So I had never had a civilian job ever, other than a summer job when I was 16. So think about that, y'all. I had never ever interviewed for a job, or had a conventional job, pretty much my whole adult life. I had that summer job when I was 16, and that was it. I didn't join the Army until I was 20. So from 16 to 20, I didn't have a job, right? So, you know, it wasn't like a fear factor, but it's something navigating this. I'm navigating something new, right? And I'm trying to get used to being a civilian. I'm like, I don't want to rock the boat, and I mess around and leave this job, try to get another one, and then it doesn't work out. You know what I'm saying? I need to feed my family. So I stayed put, and about maybe like 3 months later, my homeboy left that job and got a job that paid even more, right? So God bless him, you know what I'm saying, because he's navigating this thing. But so as soon as he left, I talked to the guy that was over the contract. I'm like, yo, like, you know, my homeboy left, you got any openings? And he said, yeah, but don't you got a job down the hallway? And I said, yeah, but, you know, I asked him what position it was, and it suits my skill set. So I sent him my resume, and he said, okay, cool, right? So literally, I walked from one hallway to the next in the same building to go on another contract. And there was no hard feelings with the contract I was on. You know what I'm saying? We left cordially. I gave my 2-week notice, all the good things, right? So that's another thing. When you leave a job intentionally, make sure that you leave it on a good note. I don't care how much you got beef with the boss or anything like that, because you don't know. You know, in the government sector, a lot of things are connected. So had I burnt that bridge with the first contract, who knows what would happen later on in life if I try to get another job, right? So I made sure I left cordially and made sure that everything was good to go before I left. So fast forward 2 years, I'm on the other contract. Everything is going well. And actually about a year prior to that, so after the first year, I said I want to navigate to another position. I want to go to cybersecurity. Same thing I wanted to do with the other job I had. Once again, they said no openings. I said, okay, fine. I'm getting paid good. The job isn't stressful. So I'm like, you know what? I'll sit back and chill for a little bit, right? So I asked about a month or so later, same thing. So I'm asking almost every single month up until this point. And I'm seeing openings before I even ask my supervisor. And he's still saying there's openings. I'm like, what, you guys don't want to hire internally? You guys want to hire externally? Or are you saying that my skill set is not right? I'm not sure what the deal is. But I said, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and stick it out or whatever. And then after a while, I'm like, you know what? I need to look for another job because this is just not working out for me. I cannot stay in this position and stay stagnant, right? Because that's another thing. I know some folks personally right now, they've been in the same position at a job for over 10 years. And no shade to them. But the thing with that is that if you want to be a worker bee and just, do your job and go home, that's fine. But if you want to elevate and you want to get the best pay possible for yourself and what you deserve, which actually I'm gonna make a video about that too, where I say a job will never pay you your worth, but at least close to it, right? If you stay stagnant, you're not building anything, and then once you, Lord forbid you lose a job or you actually decide to leave, then how has your resume beefed up before you go to another job? You know what I'm saying? You got to move around, you got to pivot. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again for years and years and years. And I've seen folks do that, It's kind of crazy to me. But I think with my military personality and my experience in the military, I guess my mind doesn't think that way. I'm always like, I need to learn something new, right? But anyways, moving on with the story. So I'm about a month or so before I get fired, I'm looking actively for a cybersecurity job in the contracting space, right? And me and one of my coworkers, we're doing work as usual. And then a couple of incidents happened, with us fixing equipment. The job that we had was mainly infrastructure, so we're going around running cable, some other things, basically almost like a grunt, right? We're literally like, moving around tables and all these other things, which is another reason why I wanted to move to cybersecurity space. I'm like, I'm not old, but I got back problems. My knees always hurting. Like, I'm like, yo, I work out, but at work, do I really want to get on my hands and knees, paws on the floor, running cable in khakis, And I'm in an awkward position. My back is not straight. Like, I'm like, yo, like this is not it. This is work that a private in the military should be doing. This is not somebody, a 40-some-year-old guy with over 20 years of experience in IT should be doing, right? I'm getting paid way more than what I think I should be getting paid, right? Way more, right? But at the end of the day, because of my skill set and because of my experience and my degrees, I have options. So I don't have to just sit here and just take a job that's hurting me, right? Doesn't make any sense. So anyways, like I said, there was a couple incidents that happened. Some cable rent was in improperly and some other things right now. I know from my experience, right, I double check, triple check everything. So one of the guys that I worked with, he wound up getting let go, getting fired. I'm not exactly sure it was because of those incidents, but it seemed like they was getting to the point where they were trying to clean shop. Like, I guess there was too many discrepancies, and there was really like, yo, like, what's going on here? I don't think that anybody was trying to sabotage anything. I just think that the work was very strenuous, and the average person that was in my section was over 40. I had a guy working with me that's 58 years old, 58, and he was in the ceiling running cable. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was military like me. He had been here longer and had even more physical issues, right? So you got folks that are over 40 trying to move around in IT space like in their early 20s, and our grip is not as strong as it used to be, and we just can't move like we could before. Get the Marines to do it, because I was in a shop where there was Marines, right? I'm like, go ahead and have them do it, but that wasn't their job. It was a contracting job to do that kind of stuff, right? So anyways, one day, as I'm sitting down, the guy, the director of the contract gives me an email saying that, we got a meeting at 10 o'clock today, a phone call meeting. I want you at 10. Okay, whatever. Didn't really think too much of it. And then I get on the phone. I have to leave the building to get on the phone. And it said, as of today, blah, 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 at this time, you are hereby terminated from this position. I'm like, yo, like what the, like what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? So one thing you got to know about Virginia is Virginia is what's considered an at-will state, I believe. I guess that's what the terminology is. And what that means is that, you know, a job can fire you with no probable cause, right? Now, in the government space, there's really going to be a reason documented as to why you got fired, right? So, so it doesn't, you know, if maybe a fast food joint, you could probably do that, but in the government IT space, even though we were physically in Virginia, they can't do that. They have to put something in writing as to why you got fired. You know what I'm saying? Even though Virginia law states you don't have to, they have to because government is federal, right? So, you know, I'm sitting here flabbergasted, and I'm like, yo, like I felt a pit in my stomach, and I'm like, okay, that was going on here. So there was some tension. There was around the office about a month or so ago, my direct supervisor and some other folks. So, you know, once they said that, I'm sitting here like, you know, I really don't think it's worth me actually trying to fight for my job, because at the end of the day, there was some real friction in the space. And I think the reason why, because I kept asking to get moved and they wouldn't move me, and they could tell I was getting disgruntled, right? So, you know, for privacy issues with the company, I'm not going to say is the reason why I got fired. But like I said, there was some discrepancies with our work. And there was, like I said, there was a guy that had been let go about a month before me, and he was doing the same work that I was doing, right? So all I'm thinking is like I said, I'm not saying it's the reason why based on paperwork, but what I'm thinking is that they wanted a clean shop. There was a new contract coming on, and they saw that we were having issues with doing the physical labor work, right? And the guy that got let go was older than me. He was like 51, right? So it was one of those things like, you know, could I probably fought it saying that there was discrepancy based off of age and disability? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But it became a hostile environment, and I said, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I just went on there and just took the letter and went about my business. But, you know, it was a very stressful situation. I had savings and I had some things in place where I could float for a couple months. But just the feeling of being let go from a job was something I had never experienced before. So it was very traumatizing, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? I didn't cry or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, my heart was racing. I was like, what I'm going to do? Those are the things, you know, thank God that I was able to find another job actually I had found another job within a week. But because of the processing of the clearance and all these other things, it took about a month for me to get on board with the job. But, you know, but I'm giving my spiel as far as why I got fired, because, you know, I'm pretty sure there's some folks that's watching this video that have had some experiences being fired, being let go, terminated, whatever, however you call it, right? They say terminated on my paperwork, but it really was fired, right? And this should be motivation for you to start your own business. I started my own business immediately after I got fired. Immediately. The very next day, I created LLC and a couple other things, and now I have something in place. I have an engine in place that can hold me down if I was to decide to leave my job or whatever the case may be, right? Plus investments, assets, and all these other things. So as men, we have to be in that position. We have to put ourselves in the best position possible, just in case we get let go from a job. Because I'm telling you, getting let go from a job is not a good look for you. It's not a good look for your family. And if your job is the only source of income you have, and you have nothing else, you don't have no savings, you don't have you know, any other thing in place that can really like hold you down until you find another job or until you create a business, you're putting yourself in the worst position possible. You really are. So that's my story as far as getting fired. Excuse me, y'all. It's hot out here. That's my story about being fired, and I hope it's a motivation for folks watching this video, and watch the channel, because look at me. You know, God can put you in positions where you feel uncomfortable, but it's for your own good. Everything works together for good. Because I got fired from that job, but now I have a outstanding job in DC that I love to death. I have my business. My business is thriving. You know, I've started to buy more assets than what I did before. Like, you know, God is good. He really is. And, you know, don't be discouraged. Don't panic. I do understand that the initial reaction to being fired is like, oh my God, what's going to happen? All right. But as men, we need to keep our composure and not panic. Right. So take a day. Don't, you know, try to calm down as much as possible. Right. If that happens to you, Lord forbid if it does. But if it does, you know, try your best to stay calm. Take that whole day to process everything. Don't try to get on Indeed or Glassdoor or anything like that. and try to find a job immediately. You need to process what happened first before you move on and try to do something else. I promise you, you'll thank me later, right? You cannot get fired and like an hour later, you're literally like on Indeed and Glassdoor and Monster.com and just clicking away trying to find another job immediately. You're not in the right space yet. You're not in the right mind state yet. It's no different than being angry, and you need to calm down for anger in order to think clearly. You have to process what happened first, and then, you know, navigate through that thing. So take the whole day, the rest of the day. It doesn't matter how early, how late you got fired in the day. Take the rest of the day to process, and then the very next day, you know, think some more, right? Drink some water. Maybe get a good workout in, because you're not working no more, right? You got free time, right? So, you know, get up early, pray. Do a good workout, right? And then start searching, right? You know what I'm saying? Ask God for discernment and ask God to push you in the right direction. And that's what I did, and I'm a survivor, right? I'm thriving right now. And I can only thank God for that, you know, because it's not my strength, it's His. But I had faith, right? And I knew what my skill set was worth, and I knew that I wouldn't stay down for long. And that's one thing that we have to really, really be conscious of as men, right? We cannot be in a mind state where we feel defeated after we get fired. You're not defeated. It's just a setback. It's a setback for a big comeback. That's all it is. It is a setback for a big comeback. So if you get fired, don't worry about that. You know, push through, pray to God, and let's get it. All right. So you want me to discuss a topic or a subject you think is beneficial to the channel? Email me at findingfitnessfolk@gmail.com. My email is just in the description below. Finding Fitness and Folk, Triple F. I'm gone.